Warning, the following video may contain adult language and themes. Viewer discretion is strongly advised. If you have a problem with this, stop playing this video now. So I just got done watching another Italian horror movie. Yeah, I'm pretty much bored of American horror movies right now, and I think I've seen all the good ones. So I'm venturing over into Italy, and this one's directed by Lucio Fulci. I'm hearing that name a lot. I've seen a lot of Dario Argentos already, so I probably won't be reviewing many of those, but it's called Psychic. It was released in 1977, rated R, about 90 minutes, which seems to be about the average length of one of these. The Italian title is Sette, nero, which I guess means psychic. That's a lot of words for the word psychic in Italian, but anyway, stars Jennifer O'Neill, Gabriel Ferzetti. Don't recognize any of these names. Not a lot of profile pics on Internet Movie Database under the cast list, so a lot of them are probably unknown. It has a 7.1 on Internet Movie Database. My spoiler-free review is this one is okay. I would say this one's a little bit above average. It was kind of good. Out of a 10, I think I give it like a 6.7 roughly a 6.7-ish. Let's see what else I gave other things. But yeah, I gave The Beyond a 6.6. So yeah, I'd probably give this one roughly a 6.7, 6.6. It's okay. It's definitely a lot better than the last one I reviewed, which was A Lizard in a Woman's Skin. Basically the plot synopsis, I think this is spoiler free, but the synopsis is that this woman is seeing visions. She like goes all like misty eyed and she has these visions, these clairvoyant visions, and they prove to be true in solving murders. And she's married to a rich husband. Basically she goes to this house that her rich husband owns, and she's there to remodel it, and she has this vision that she sees that this woman was buried in this walled in, this woman was walled in this house. And so she starts banging on the walls, and she tears down one of the walls, and she finds a skeleton there, and she calls the police, and since it's her husband's house, he's immediately suspected, and he's immediately taken to jail. And so she doesn't think it's her husband, though. She's convinced he's innocent, and so she starts on this quest to prove his innocence. And she finds out that someone else was involved as well. Someone was involved. Oh, I said too much. Sorry. She finds a whole bunch of things out with her clairvoyant visions. And that's basically what it boils down to. This movie reminded me a lot of the more recent movie called The Gift with Cate Blanchett. I believe it was directed by Sam Raimi. It reminds me a lot of that one, because Cate Blanchett in that one had clairvoyant visions, and she used it to solve murders. And come to think of it, these are kind of similar in quality too. I liked The Gift too. That was a pretty good one. So I kind of like this one. It's not as stylistic though as some of the other Italian horror movies I've seen. This horror movie could easily have passed as an American horror movie. I could definitely see if I learned that John Carpenter directed it, I would not be surprised. In that regard, it's kind of a disappointment because I watch these Italian horror movies to get that Italian flavor. And this one didn't really have it. And the atmosphere and the style of it was kind of subdued, but it was an interesting movie. I kind of liked it. Nothing extraordinary about it. The score wasn't that extraordinary either, but it wasn't bad. It was fun to see how her visions played out. One of the twists is that she's not just envisioning things from the past. She's also envisioning things that are soon to happen. And it was interesting to see it all play out and see how her visions were fulfilled and how they came to be. So yeah, overall, spoiler-free review, I'd give it probably a 6.6 to 6.7. Not that bad of a horror movie. Probably a lot better Italian horror movies out there, but a lot worse too. So let's get into spoilers. Basically, what happens is she goes around. She knows that they find out that this girl who was in the wall was murdered in like 73 or something. And I may be getting these details wrong, but this is basically the gist. She finds out that from forensics, they find out she was murdered in 73. And so she's like, well, no, the thing is they don't know when she was exactly murdered. But she knows that her husband went to America at this certain year. So she needs to prove that this girl was still alive um, when was that her husband she needs to prove that the girl was basically killed while her husband was away, and she eventually proves this because they like find this magazine cover or something, or and then they also find this taxi driver that proves that the girl was still alive when her husband was away or something like that, and basic. Man, it's hard to describe the plot, but basically, um, um, yeah, so her visions are fulfilled, and I kind of called the twist. Basically, it turns out that the person who is involved in this crime is like this doctor, this other random doctor who lives in Italy, and I called the twist. Her husband actually was one of the murderers, and it was really cool seeing the prophecies that she saw fulfilled. Like at one point, one of the visions she had was she heard this tone, this ringtone. It's like this it sounded like a music box, and like her the sister of her husband gives her this watch. That has an alarm, and it has that same ringtone. So she's like, I guess this is going to come into play in the future. And in the end of the movie, basically this old woman calls her up and is like, I can help you, I can tell you what actually happened in the murder. And then so she goes to see this woman, and the woman's dead. And it's the doctor who's there, who's in on the murders, and he starts chasing her. And while she's running away and hiding, she's hidden, and the doctor's turning away to leave, and so she's almost going to get away from him. And then the watch alarm goes off, and it exposes her, and the doctor starts chasing her again. And basically, she's like on this huge scaffolding or something, and she's just hiding on there. And the doctor is coming up on the scaffolding, and he's walking across this like plank of wood to get to the scaffolding, and it breaks, and he falls, and so he gets incapacitated. So that's how she subdues him, because it was strong enough to hold her, but not him. And then she comes down from the scaffolding, and it's kind of unclear how she got down, because the plank of wood broke that she walked across. But then she gets away, and she goes back to the house where she originally found the body in the wall. And then it's discovered the doctor who's taken to the hospital, the police are interviewing him, and he basically confesses, and he says also that the woman's husband's in on it too. And so it's a race against time, basically, to get back to get to the guy before he kills her. Because there was a letter at the old woman's house that she went to, that she found out that the old woman died, and she opened the letter, but she didn't read it. But the husband found the letter, and he thinks he doesn't know if she read it or not, but he's not sure, but he won't take any chances. And so she's like, I didn't read the letter, and he's like, well, I can't take that chance. And so he basically bashes her over the head, and he walls her up in the exact same spot where the body of that other woman was found. And so that's where I kind of had to call bullshit. That up until that point it was pretty good, but I had kind of call bullshit on that. Like, what kind of murderer would do that? Wall up your next victim in the exact same wall. I mean, more than likely no one would look there again, but why would you take that chance? You know what I mean? If you sold the house and somebody else bought it and knew the history, they'd be like, oh, we need to get rid of this wall because it has this bad history, and then they'd find the body again. You know what I mean? So why would he do that? Man, there was another thing that really got to me. Oh yeah, when he puts her in the wall, she's not dead, and he knows it. She's just unconscious, and she's going, she's like moaning because she got hit over the head, but she's not dead. She's just kind of semi-unconscious. Why wouldn't he kill her and make sure she's dead, then put her in there? Because, as we all know, cement, is actually kind of pliable before it dries, so she could easily come to and knock out the bricks, so that was another thing I didn't think was very well thought out about the plot. But then, her psychiatrist, who I kind of left out of this review, but he was kind of her sidekick all along, who would listen to her premonitions and, evaluate it and say, oh, you're not crazy, they're just premonitions. And so we kind of helped her along the way and got evidence. And so he rushes to the house, and I can't remember how he found out that her husband was bad. I can't remember. But anyway, he rushes to the house with the police, and and it's all boarded up, the wall, so you can't see anything. You can't see. So they get there, and they're like, "Well, where's your wife?" And he's like, "I don't know." He's like, I can't find her." And then the psychiatrist like, isn't that the wall where they found the body? He's like, "Oh yeah, we just boarded it up." And he's like, "Okay," and they begin to leave, and then her watch goes off again, the alarm, and the noise of the alarm starts the jingle starts up, and the police hear it, and the psychiatrists hear it, and they look at it, and then the husband's busted. And by the way, the husband got out because the wife had actually kind of proved his innocence with the photos and the cab driver's testimony that he had driven that woman, around while he was in America. So that's how the husband got out of prison, because ironically, the wife proved his innocence, and then he's not innocent. So, but then at that moment, when they hear the jingle of her watch, they know he's busted. We all know he's busted at that point, and it just cuts to the credits. And I kind of didn't like that. That's kind of like the difference between American horror movies and some foreign horror movies is that foreign horror movies, don't always end on a happy note. I mean, yeah, that was kind of a happy note. We kind of assume that they're going to find her, but they don't spell it out, And if this were an American horror movie, you can bet your ass they would have shown a scene of them arresting him and taking him away, and them busting her out and saying, "Oh, you're okay, it's all right now." They would have shown that, but they didn't, and I was kind of disappointed at that. But I think we could all assume at that point she was going to live happily ever after. But yeah, this movie wasn't bad. It was a little bit above average. I would say 6.6 to 6.7. I don't think I can give it a 6.8. Like I said, it didn't have that flavor of Italian, and like I said, there's not anything that really elevates this to make it exceptional. Like I said, horror movies need to satisfy either the visceral blood, guts, and gore, or tits and ass, which this didn't, or it needs to satisfy the artistic aspect, which this sort of did. It sort of did. So I can't really give it a full-blown, glowing review, but so 6.6 to 6.7. Anyway, again, it was called The Psychic, released in 1977, directed by Lucio Fulci. Kind of a generic name, but like I said, you could do a lot worse. I think you'll be satisfied if you were to rent this. Anyway, this review's gone on long enough. Have a nice day. See you later.